in her youth and throughout her life, Joni Mitchell was always a painter. She was in high school the kid in the school who was always known as the artist for her, not only her grade but for the school. Anytime there was a play, Joni Mitchell was always in charge of painting the set and getting everything ready. Joni Mitchell moved to Saskatoon at the age of 11 years old. Her first school was Queen Elizabeth School, and it was at Queen Elizabeth School where she met an Australian teacher living in Canada named Mr. Kratzmann. Here at Queen Elizabeth School, Mr. Kratzmann, at the end of grade 7, he told her along the lines that if you can paint with brushes, you can paint with words, Joni. See you next year. And it was that really pushed her into writing. She returned to the school in grade 8, and Mr. Kratzmann taught her English. It wasn't so easy for her. She got a lot of her reports back with a lot of red ink, a lot of circles, the word cliche written all over it. And he taught her to write what she knew. And that was the beginning. The very first album that she ever produced was dedicated to Mr. Kratzmann. It's dedicated to Mr. Kratzmann. She never knew his first name. How odd that is. But telling her that if she could paint with a brush, she could paint with words. Pretty cool how when a teacher can, or an adult, anyone can inspire a kid. That's pretty special. Aidan Bowman is where Joni Mitchell attended high school. The timing was perfect. It was the early days of rock and roll. So these were strong formation years for her. Growing up in Saskatoon for junior high and high school. After high school, she left Saskatoon, but her years here were sure important for her becoming into herself, into music, into writing, and of course her painting. The first instrument that Joni Mitchell owned was not a guitar. A lot of people would think it was a guitar because, hey, she was a folk musician and the guitar is the instrument of the folk singer. It was a baritone ukulele. She bought it for $35. The reason was she couldn't afford a guitar. Back in those days, $35, well, it was worth over $200, so nothing to sneeze at. And that got her a start. Now, as she was in high school, later on in high school, she was hanging out on Broadway Avenue. And Broadway Avenue today is a nice area, nice shops, and back then it was a bit, rough around the edges, and she was running with a crowd that may have been almost on the brink of, or looking like going towards a criminal way. So she grabbed onto music, and it was at there was a folk place where she hung out, Louis Riel. It was a place where she could go and play, and it was her first time where she would play folk music and earn money. Louis Riel Coffee Shop, or Louis Riel is not open anymore. Instead, it's a restaurant called Calories, and it's on Broadway next to the Broadway Cinema. Here is the Broadway Theatre. Lots of great Canadian artists have played here, and I'm pretty sure that none of them realize that next door, the Broadway Theatre, is a landmark. This is where Louis Riel Folk Club once stood in the late 60s, or maybe even mid-60s, where Joni Mitchell first got her first paid gig. Now it's an uppity coffee shop. You know, the funny thing is, on this block, there are a few, plaques for the, showing the importance of the landmark. And none of them have I seen indicate that is the first place where Joni Mitchell got her first start. I find that peculiar. Vlog kaput.